The mic drop.
That man is a product of a poor environment. There's absolutely nothing wrong with him. I can prove it.
Of course, there's something wrong with him. He's a Negro.
Somebody drop this fool for me.
The mic drop.
While freedom of speech is one of the most sacrosanct freedoms in American history, there are a variety of exceptions to the general principle that speech is protected under the First Amendment. We will discuss 6 such categories: incitement, fighting words, obscenity, defamation, commercial speech, and cases in which freedom of speech is outweighed by an even more compelling interest. We'll start with
the mic drop.
You women out there, y'all petty, man. These girls hating on Caitlin Clark. Y'all petty, girls.
I'm sick of watching Caitlin getting attacked. If the league doesn't step up and protect her, things are going to get ugly real fast.
They now have a commemorative poster of 30 years of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's not on it. Paige Beckers and Angel Reese are on it. And Caitlin Clark's not.
Egregious and utterly disrespectful.
If Caitlin Clark say, you know what, today I'm done with the WNBA, where would the WNBA be? It'd be over.
But look here, loose ball, Caitlin Clark passes it, gets hit in the throat, and nothing called there.
Refs didn't see it, James.
Yeah.
Didn't see it.
The ball's out of her hands, and then she gets hit, full body weight landed on, because Caitlin Clark is a star.
Y'all should be thanking that girl for getting y'all ass private charters, all the money and visibility she bring into the WNBA. Don't be petty.
Don't get it twisted. Don't get it up. Caitlin Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA.
People that follow the WNBA much closer than I do say, oh, well, she's not the best player in the league. I do not care. I don't care if she's the best player in the league. She's the biggest star in the league. It's not particularly close.
When Michael Jordan was the man, the NBA made sure, all right, you can't be doing the Pistons. Y'all can't be doing it to him no more. Quarterbacks in the NFL, they hurt Tom Brady's knee. Oh, from now on, no more. You can't tie the quarterback by their knees. That's dead.
There is a flagrant level of resentment that exists when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
Bro, if you don't take care of the young GOAT, what the hell is going to happen to the WNBA?
You women out there, y'all petty, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Mike Drop. I am your host, Big Mike. The mic in the building, man. What's going on with y'all, fam? How y'all doing? It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. I'm glad to be back. Can y'all hear me? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you're with me. Let me know where you're from. Let's get this conversation started, man. So I had a nice little intro for you to kind of get you warmed up and familiar with the talking points that's going on around one Caitlin Clark. We're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to do a deep dive tonight. So I would ask that you be patient. Stick with us through the conversation. You see, I got on glasses. I got notes. I mean, I got a lot of information for you guys tonight. So start by letting me know where you are, who you are in the comments. If you're coming from Facebook, if you're coming from YouTube, like, subscribe, share. Let your people know. Let your people know. So we're going to get started tonight. Been a crazy week, man. Crazy week. I was on Facebook going back and forth with folks about Caitlin Clark. And, you know, it's a lot of things floating around about this situation. And I want to clear things up. It actually sparked the research in me, the researcher in me. And I decided, hey, man, I'm going to go take a look at some of this Caitlin Clark information because I feel like it may be capped. I feel like a lot of it may be capped, and a lot of it is capped. We're going to get into it tonight, but we're going to talk about the Caitlin Clark effect. The Caitlin Clark effect. And I'm sure you all have heard the term before. Caitlin Clark effect. Caitlin Clark has come to the WNBA. She is the savior. Man, what's going on, Kim? How you doing, man? Good. The mic drop. Let me find one more. Where my thing at? Where am I? There we go. All right, there we go. What's up, Kim? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. So, yeah, it's a lot of cap going around about Caitlin Clark and the Caitlin Clark effect. The one thing about this argument is I really don't have to continue having it on Facebook. I don't have to continue having it on social media because a lot of people are just hell-bent on being ignorant. They're hell-bent on being ignorant, and they're just gonna be obtuse about it. And I'm gonna explain exactly why people are holding on to Caitlin Clark with claws. I'm sure a lot of you already know why they're holding on to Caitlin Clark with claws, but this is not the first time that this has happened in history. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be the last time. Be honest, I don't think it's going to be the last time that it happens in history. So, you know, we'll see, man. Let's go through this information tonight. But I did want to start out with a few videos. So for those of you who aren't familiar with what kind of caused this whole domino effect, and now it's pretty much become a mock race war in the social media streets. But what's caused this domino effect? So let's take a look at the video of the incident that caused this whole backlash, okay? So this is when the Indiana Fever took on the Phoenix Mercury, and this is what happened to Caitlin Clark.
To the ground, and ooh, that's a hand to the neck, and then Alyssa Thomas.
All right. Let's take a look at that one more time. This is real time, by the way.
To the ground, and ooh, that's a hand to the neck, and then Alyssa Thomas.
All right. A hand to the neck. Now, you heard the real time announcing of it, right? You heard the real time announcement of what was going on. A hand to the neck. I don't know if this was Saturday or Friday or whatever, but whenever the next day was, it became a hand to the a fist to the throat. So I hear this, I'm like, oh my God, somebody's like finally went off on Caitlin Clark and punched this girl in the throat. And then I see this.
To the ground, and ooh, that's a hand to the neck, and then Alyssa Thomas.
I really thought she was about to get kicked. I'm like, okay, they started stomping the girl out, kicking the girl on the floor. I'm expecting to see some real abuse. Let me explain what I saw there before we go any further. What I saw there was a flagrant foul. The girl roughing her up a little bit. She's going to shoot a tech. You don't eject her from the game. It's not a flagrant 2. She didn't punch her in the neck. And then again, that angle is misleading because if you look at it from the other angle, and I don't have that video, but I have seen another angle of it, it looks like perhaps the hand to the neck was to stop her from stepping on her face. I don't know if the girl was off balance or not, or the woman. I shouldn't call them girls. The woman. I don't know if she was off balance or not. But when you're playing a contact sport at full speed, and I know a lot of you Caitlin Clark fans are not basketball fans. I understand you don't understand the rules, okay? So let's just go ahead and keep that a buck right off the top. You don't understand the rules. I happen to have been a basketball player. I haven't played in a while, but I grew up playing basketball. I grew up playing basketball. I grew up in a school that was a basketball school. Our girls' team was killing it. We were killing it. We were fans of the girls. They were fans of ours. So we good on the basketball thing. We good on the basketball tip. I know what I'm talking about, okay? So to me, it just looked like maybe she went a little bit over the top. It wasn't anything I was going to go too crazy about. If I were a ref, I'd probably just hit her with a technical flagrant foul. Caitlin Clark shoots the ball. You know, game goes on. Well, anyway, that's not what happened. Like I said, by the next day, it's like social media is buzzing with videos. You got videos, still shots. In which case, if you look at the still shot, it looks pretty bad. It looks pretty bad. But one thing I did notice is you can see all of this part of her fist. Let me get it right there. You can see all of this part of her fist, right? Which meant that this was on her neck. So you can't punch somebody in the neck like that. You know, it's not right. The whole call wasn't right. Anyway, Alyssa Thomas got suspended for a game, and she got a fine. I don't know exactly how much the fine was, but she was suspended for a game and did receive a fine for this. But this was after the fact. This was not called during the game. It was such a backlash from the public that they went back and looked at it and then assessed the penalty after the game. I don't necessarily think that's right. Apparently, that's something they do now, but that's trash juice, especially for gamblers. I'm not a gambler, but if you're a gambler, that's trash juice. We can't use it. So anyway, for those of you just joining us, let's take a look. We got some comments out here. Oh, yeah. Ignorance is definitely at an all-time high. Scam Boogie in the building. What's happening with you? Mr. Tribal Warriors. How can no one see it? The ball was still down that end. Everyone's eyes were looking at the loose ball. Hard to believe, especially after the first incident. What first incident? I don't know. I'm not familiar with the first incident. Alyssa Thomas, you know, so let me know what the first incident was, but I don't understand the question that you're asking. So try to rephrase it for me, Mr. Tribal Warriors. Appreciate you, though. All right, let's take a look at this. All right, so like I said, once I saw that, I'm like, okay, this is getting out of control. Then I look on social media, and I know social media is not the real world. I'm on there a lot, of course, you know, but social media is not the real world. But you know you're living in bizarro world when you see stuff like this. I'm gonna let that sink for a minute. Just take a look at that. For those of you who don't know who this is Caitlin Clark, of course, and Jackie Robinson. So, and I saw a lady post this the other day that Caitlin Clark is the new Jackie Robinson. She's our Jackie Robinson. And I asked a simple question. Was she the first to integrate into the league? I'm confused. And what I started realizing is that we might be dealing with some really, really sick people. And you guys are going to get a good look at how this system works or how they would like the system to work. You know, they off a big win with the Carmelo Anthony conviction, off a real big win. And they've had a few big wins. The Rick Chow, you know, acquittal, big win. We just had a 7-year-old shot in Mississippi. Cohen. Another big win for them right now. that cop going to jail. We need him gone to prison. If not, Walmart needs to be boycotted. But we'll talk about that later. That's not what this show is about. So they're on an all-time high going into this summer. I mean, they've taken a few L's. They're even asking for Derek Chauvin to be released, you know? So they've taken a few L's. But what you're going to get a chance to look at today is the dichotomy or the duplicitous nature of this system. The Caitlin Clark effect. Let me get my notes. What is the Caitlin Clark effect? What is it? Well, I read an article in BBC.com, and it was written by Brandon Drennan. And this was the first place that I saw in the oldest date that I saw. It was in 2024, and it was called The Caitlin Clark Effect Has Made Women's Basketball the Hottest Ticket Around. All right, so take a look at it. Take a look at that. But Brennan defined what the Caitlin Clark effect was. I don't know if he created it, but I do know he defined it. So what is the Caitlin Clark effect? It's defined as a transformational phenomenon describing the massive surge in popularity, viewership, and revenue for women's basketball. Okay? I'm going to tell you right off the rip, I disagree. I'm not going to say Caitlin Clark had zero effect. I'm not getting ready to, crap on her skills or anything like that. I think she's a phenomenal player. She has a lot of potential. Is she the GOAT? No. I'll go on, come up the middle with that. But I'm going to tell you the first paragraph in this article already let you know that it's not any such thing as a Caitlin Clark effect. And we're gonna go through it. We're not gonna go through the entire article, but I want this to be the jump off point. It's a good starting point. If you have time, go read the article. The Caitlin Clark effect has made women's basketball the hottest ticket around by Brandon Drennan with the BBC News. BBC. All right. So the first quote that I took, and he was in a bar or, interviewing a bar owner of a place called Sports Bras. I want to say it was in Portland, Oregon, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but it's not really important, but I just want to get as accurate as possible with the story. So he was talking to the owner of that, and they were talking about all they play is women's sports, so it's a popular spot for women who are athletes or women who like women's sports to come. So they were having the biggest year watching the Iowa, LSU, South Carolina. You remember they had a bunch of good teams in NCAA women's basketball in 2024. 2023 as well. But 2024 was a highly contested year. So this is the quote. They were there to witness an epic women's college basketball tournament game between the Iowa Hawkeyes and the LSU Tigers, headlined by superstars Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. That let me know right there that there's no such thing as the Caitlin Clark effect. And you're going to see as we go through this that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese always have to be paired for this effect to take effect and be effective. Okay? It's a big numbers game. I get it. A huge numbers game. But before we get into the specifics of it, I just want you to hear some of the narratives. You already heard the basketball players, and I'm going to talk about Charles Barkley because Charles Barkley calling them women petty and, y'all lucky, y'all ass got this and that. I don't know if they get paid to run this type of, misinformation or disinformation campaign, because misinformation is a mistake. Disinformation is when you're being dishonest. That's how I separate the two. So I don't know if this is a misinformation campaign or a disinformation campaign. I'm leaning towards disinformation campaign because these guys they know stats. They're not statisticians, but they know stats, especially in their sports. They're professionals or supposed to be. Okay? So Charles Barkley calls these women petty, but remember Mr. Barkley? Let's take a look.
It'll be a difficult task as the playoffs will unfold next week. It'll either be Pistons in Cleveland or Pistons and Indiana, but they will host the first two games. We don't know yet when game one is, do we?
No, we'll find that out probably Sunday night.
Rick Mahorn with a see-you-later kind of jam as Barkley just nailed Lambeer on the chin with a lefty, and now fires another one. Barkley and Lambeer slammed by, this is ugly. Barkley and Mahorn at the bottom of that. This is really nasty. Edwards and Mahorn, two friends ready to duel.
I'll tell you, you knew this was coming when Barkley swore he was going to fight Lambeer, and no.
The mic drop. Give me one moment. Let me find out what this dog is barking at. My bad, y'all. Dog barking like the police outside or something. I don't know what's going on. Welcome back to the mic drop. Yeah. School's in. Let's talk about this. But that's just my ode to Mr. Barkley. And I'm a huge Charles Barkley fan. I got my shoe upstairs that he autographed. I'm thinking about throwing it away if he keeps talking crazy. I'm just playing. I wouldn't throw it away. My mom got it for me. So I'm not going to throw it away. But you know what I'm saying. I'm a little upset with Charles Barkley for the way he's coming off as if he wasn't Mr. Petty. Now, as you saw, that wasn't even his fight. But him and Bill Lambeer always fought. Bill Lambeer was one of the dirtiest players, or is known as one of the dirtiest players, of NBA history. Biggest flopper, dirty player. You know, Charles Barkley understands the competitive nature of the NBA. And him and Bill Lambeer are probably good friends right now. They probably play golf and drink beer together. You feel me? So he understands the competitive nature of the game. I don't know if LeBron James understands the competitive nature so much. And I got my thoughts on that with Caitlin Clark because I'll save it to the end. I'll save it to the end. But I don't know if LeBron James quite understands the competitive nature. But Charles Barkley does understand the competitive nature. I don't even know who the other guy was. Be honest, I don't know who he was. I don't know if he, has gained weight. It could be Sedell 3. I don't know who it is. But when he brought up Michael Jordan and the Jordan rules that were put in place, that was after Jordan became the man and won championships. There were no Jordan rules when he was battling the Pistons and getting beat up. They weren't calling panty ante fouls. It wasn't a bunch of flopping you could do because literally they were playing very physical ball. We'll just say that. They were playing very physical games back then. Only until after Jordan started winning championships did they put the Jordan rules in place. You can't touch Jordan too crazy. You can't, clothesline him or whatnot. But this is before they even put the Jordan rules in place. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at this here.
Then he hasn't been able to curl off that post.
Lambeer losing it. They are just not with it yet.
Just not with it. Bill Lambeer sure-handed normally. Brent, maybe the first contact since their altercation where Isaiah hurt himself. And Bill Lambeer with a little emphasis there.
Chicago has not scored a field goal in more than 3 minutes. Davis pushing Lambeer off.
Davis in the game. He's a physical player, good jump shooter, known to get into a few confrontations. Here, maybe one of the great floppers of all time, Bill Laimbeer.
Bill Laimbeer, ladies and gentlemen. He was very entertaining to watch, but that was a dirty mother. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was dirty. So, and you notice that you can just go clip after clip after clip after clip after clip after clip. You get my drift with Bill Laimbeer. Okay, very dirty player. So, basketball didn't just start getting competitive and physical when Caitlin Clark got to the league. So why are these calls for players to be arrested? I mean, they're literally asking for players to be arrested for assault. They want special rules put in place. Caitlin Clark has to have room to shoot, and all of the things that basically take away your ability to neutralize a threat, and you just get beat to sleep in a game. And I don't think anybody's going to let that happen. Caitlin Clark is a threat. Caitlin Clark can shoot. Very precise. She can run an offense. Very precise. She's considered a threat. She's going to get double teamed. She's going to get hard picks set. Everything else they could do, anything they can do to knock her off her game or knock her out the game. You saw that in the NFL with Cam Newton. You heard about Sean Payton putting bounties on players. So don't act like it's not a thing in the culture of sports. I don't agree with it, but it is a thing. It didn't just start with Caitlin Clark. Okay? So, in my opinion, for what it's worth, I feel like Caitlin Clark is a good player. Caitlin Clark isn't great yet. And I'm going to say the reason she's not great yet is because her greatness was assigned. It wasn't earned. That greatness that was assigned is a projection of a system, and you know what system we're talking about. And it's a projection, whether it's a conscious projection or a subconscious, unconscious projection. I'm sorry. What you found is the inability of her to consummate this greatness through winning. Now you're starting to see the mechanizations of the system. And this is a perfect time to illustrate this because it's kind of fun to talk about. And you get to see it in action. You're not compartmentalizing this. Look at it as one whole. Look at it as a whole. Okay, so now the system is mechanized, and we got social media backlash. Now the public outrage and the public backlash was enough to get Alyssa Thomas suspended and fined. So don't act like it's not something that can really be, a thing. So let's take a look at here. Let me get my cards here, guys. The simple fact that Caitlin Clark cannot win at this stage. She can't win at this stage. She's, 3 years in. I get it. You got rookie. You got like vets in there. You got vets. So Caitlin Clark still has to wait her turn. Michael Jordan had to wait his turn. Every great player has to wait their turn. So there's nothing different. Caitlin Clark is getting treated no differently. But this further degrades her status as a great. The crying, the victimhood, the victimization. I mean, if I were her, I would come out and tell y'all to shut y'all ass up for real because you're messing up my image. All right, we got Buck in the building. What's happening, Buck? How you doing? Buck, that's a great question. All the records she is broken is not earned. No. On a long enough timeline, you can break every record. LeBron James has broken every record. LeBron James is still not the GOAT because LeBron James has not brought home the championship. There's a reason there's a championship. There is a reason. People who compete on high levels, and you haven't even been to it. I mean, come on. You know that. She can't win because of her coach. I don't know about that. I'm not familiar with the politics with her and her coach. I know her and her coach have an issue, but I don't know. I think she can't win because the team wins when she doesn't play. The team does have a better record when she doesn't play. We've seen that already. And no, she has not played 3 full seasons. No, she's in the middle of her 3rd season. Yes, she's in the middle of her 3rd season. But, and I'm not here to crap on Caitlin Clark. I'm just here to let you know she's not the GOAT. She's not the reason that the WNBA has experienced an uptick. She's part of the reason, but she's not the entire reason. All right? So let's go over some of her college stats because that was a good segue, Buck. Her college stats, the records that she's broken. And she has broken records. Caitlin Clark, to this day, is the highest scoring college athlete in NCAA basketball of all time. That's males and females. Shout out to Caitlin Clark for that. Her time at Iowa, Caitlin Clark scored 3,951 points. That's more than anybody, even Pistol Pete, anybody that's played NCAA basketball, male or female. She also broke the record for the most three-pointers in a single season. That was previously held by Steph Curry. So those are the records that she broke, which is fine. You definitely the record holder in college. You didn't win a championship in college, so I can't say you're the college GOAT. And like I said, on a long enough timeline, that record will be broken. So right now, she just holds the record. She's yet to prove that she's the GOAT. The WNBA Rookie of the Year in 2024, and that's good. That's a great start. But does it make you the GOAT? Has everybody benefited in the WNBA because Caitlin Clark is in the WNBA? Let me know your thoughts. I'm sorry, I'm getting my notes together. Had to wear my glasses today. Whatever. Let's get rid of it. All right. So let's summarize what the Caitlin Clark effect is. And we'll go back to our definition, right? The Caitlin Clark effect, a transformational phenomenon describing the massive surge in popularity, viewership, and revenue for women's basketball. So that's what qualifies the Caitlin Clark effect, according to the BBC, Mr. Drennan. Popularity, viewership, revenue. That means these have to be tied directly back to Caitlin Clark alone for this to be a true statement. All right. There's an obvious surge in these areas, okay? It is definitely a phenomenon, but is our phenomenon properly identified? Like I said, all paths have to lead back to Caitlin as a singular entity for this to be true. Let's go. Actually, let's not go. I want to play a video. I want to play Megyn Kelly and Jason Whitlock. And I want to play, I'm not going to play it in its entirety, but I'm going to play it long enough. So you can kind of get the point, because Megyn Kelly is the archetype of the type of people we're dealing with in the internet spaces. And I would assume that these people are also in public. So, but just check out Megyn Kelly and then check out Jason Whitlock. It's something deeper going on over here, guys, for real. You're tuning in to the Big Mike Drop, man. I appreciate y'all for joining. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the comments. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, let's take a look. Buck, she's exciting to watch. That's the CC effect. People love to watch her. No, Buck, that's not the CC effect, brother. This is the CC effect. Look up the BBC article. The CC effect is a transformational phenomenon describing the massive surge in popularity, viewership, and revenue for women's basketball. I'm not taking away that she's exciting to watch. I like watching anybody that can play basketball. But that's not the CC effect. This is what was put into the books. This has been attributed to her at the beginning of the show. I don't know, did you see the beginning of the show? I'll show that again. LeBron James, Charles Barkley, people with juice and credit in the NBA. Listen to the things that they're saying, and I'll play that video. But I want to play this Megyn Kelly video with Jason Whitlock first. And I think it's cool because Jason Whitlock obviously isn't a total liar. He cannot lie about sports for some reason, and I appreciated that in this interview. So shout out to him beforehand. He did damn near pull something trying to tie in black people to it, though. So, but, you can't ask for everything. You can't bat perfect with this guy, can we? You know what I mean?
I think you're way out of line talking to me like that. And you're in no position to challenge my expertise.
All right, school time. Let's go. Let me share this screen. Don't show the tips again. Let's go to my YouTube watch history. And all right, there we go. There we go. This is Megyn Ku Klux Kelly. That's what they call her. This woman is so racist, dude. Like, it's pathetic, man. Like, I don't know. She's the poster child of racial insecurity in the United States, and she ain't even from here. She's like Irish or something. But this is Megyn Kelly, the Megyn Kelly Show. She got canned from Fox News because she was trash, and she's gone a couple of more places, and now she's just living her truth in the full sunshine of her racistness. And I don't even know if that's a word, but So this is the Megyn Kelly Show. Jason Whitlock, you already know what time it is. He on coon time. He needs some coonitin, but here you go. Check it out.
Controversy in the WNBA with Caitlin Clark. I've been following your coverage. Jason has been analyzing these clips and what's been happening with her on the Fever, like the Zapruder films, and I am here for it. That's why we first booked you. I'm like, I want him to walk me through all of this. So I'm just going to lay out what my producers put together just to get the audience up and running, and then you're going to take it. It's so fascinating, your take, and you've convinced me 100%. All right, so this all started on Wednesday. Well, it started before Wednesday, but the latest chapter started Wednesday when the league released its 30th anniversary poster. And we're showing it on the screen right now. Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest star, she's responsible for huge ratings, sold out arenas. She's not on it. Okay, and there are recent players on it. Like I think Angel Reese is on it. Okay, why is she on it and Caitlin Clark is not on it? That's a question. Some people are suggesting it's because it's a licensing issue, that she hasn't allowed that. But we haven't heard that from the league itself. And it does seem weird to me that the WNBA wouldn't have permission to use Caitlin Clark's image. So we don't know, all right, because it's absolutely baffling. But that wound up not even being the biggest controversy on Wednesday, because in Caitlin's game that night against the Phoenix Mercury player Alyssa Thomas lodged her fist into Caitlin's neck in a play where no foul was called during the game. We're showing a still of it right now. I'm not a sports expert, but I mean, it does seem like a foul. Seems like a clear foul. Even I can see that. Now, the WNBA upgraded the play after the fact because there was all this outrage after the game because nothing had been called. It was like, well, how is that not a foul? So then they upgraded it, which they can do after a game has ended. Not just any foul, but to a flagrant 2 foul And Thomas got suspended, but just for one game. So many critics are saying, what's that? And she got fined something like a pittance. I think it was $1,000, and she makes $1.2 million a year. According to Caitlin's coach, who's going to play a pivotal role in our discussion with Jason here, that was not the only cheap shot by the Mercury that night. You can see on your screen a Mercury player fouling Clark on a 3-point attempt, not giving her space to land safely, which I'm told you're supposed to do. People who have played basketball say this is exactly the type of play that can lead to a nasty ankle injury, which is why they often call it as a foul, but not in this case. And there are allegations that it's a pattern when it comes to Caitlin Clark, that the league and its refs allow her to get beaten. I mean, physically beaten, not beaten in the sports lingo, without calling the fouls because they can't stand her. Pretty much everyone hates Caitlin Clark in this league. She maybe have a couple of friends, but everyone hates her. And there are real questions about why. Is it just normal professional jealousy? Is it a race thing? Is it a sexuality thing? Because 74% of the league, according to some reporters, are, first Black, and then some huge portion of them are also gay. Why do they have to be gay? Why are there so many soccer players gay? And why are so many basketball players gay? With the women, I'm saying. Like, I don't get it. It's like, whatever. But in any event, they hate her. Now, Caitlin, back to this game in which she got the punch to the throat, she ultimately walked out of the game. Like, before it was over, I think it was third quarter. And they said nothing, like the announcers weren't talking about it. It was like the biggest player in the league just walked off in the middle of the game. And then they kind of came back up and they were like, oh, it's a back injury. And Jason Whitlock says, no, if you believe that, you haven't been paying attention, because there is a dynamic that caused Caitlin Clark to walk off of the court that day. And it had, in his opinion, nothing to do with her back. Okay, take it away, my friend.
So there's a bunch of things you said. The closeout play where the woman is contesting Caitlin's shot. There was a foul called on that, and Caitlin went to the line and shot 3 free throws. What they didn't review is whether that was a reckless closeout, which would have required an additional foul or free throws. But there is a foul. That's why Caitlin Clark went to the free throw line and shot 3 free throws. As it relates to the poster, you covered that pretty well in terms of potential licensing issue. But what is left out of that is like, hey, the WNBA is controlled by this Marxist mindset that, hey, everybody should get something, and we got to share things equitably, equally, blah, blah, blah. And so Diana Taurasi is widely considered the greatest WNBA player of all time. She's white. She's not on the poster either. And so Caitlin Clark not being on the poster, and this is celebrating 30 years of the WNBA, and there's old players on there, there's current players on there, the whole 9 years. The greatest player, arguably in WNBA history, also isn't on the poster. And so there may have been a licensing issue with Diana Taurasi, or it may have just been this stupidity of, hey, let's leave Taurasi, let's leave Sue Bird's not on there, let's leave Caitlin off, and let's showcase these other people because that's what's equitable. And so that's the lunacy. Instead of doing what's best for business, hey, let's put Caitlin Clark on here. She's got the biggest fan base. They'll be more likely to buy the poster. So those are the first two things I just wanted to add a little clarity to. As it relates to the foul on Caitlin Clark, the fist to the neck area, you put it down in slow motion, you put a still photo up, and it looks like the worst thing in the world. When you watch it in real time, if you play Caitlin's reaction and how quickly she got up, and when she goes back down court and you look at her and look at her facial expressions and body movement, this thing's being exaggerated. And I'll make a very provocative analogy. It's being exaggerated the same way Derek Chauvin on top of George Floyd, greatly exaggerated. Derek Chauvin
My bad, guys. I'm sitting up here talking, man. The mic muted the whole time. So y'all didn't even hear what I was saying. So let me get started again. The real causes for the increased popularity and viewership was one, Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. Number two, the 2024 rookie class were beautiful and feminine. They all wore skirts, dresses, feminine clothing, makeup, lashes, hair. I mean, they all look stunning, including Caitlin Clark. They put their best feminine foot forward, and I believe that's the reason that viewership increased, because now men see attractive women playing basketball. Not just a bunch of dudes who can't dunk. Number three, social media influence. More youth participation. You can't deny the power of social media. You can't deny Caitlin Clark having, millions of followers. Angel Reese having millions, if not, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers. A lot of these different players, Camila Cardozo. I mean, you got Paige Bucker. You got, Asia Wilson. So you got all types of players, Alyssa Thomas. It's people that like her, Brittany Griner. So these women already have fan bases, and the power of social media definitely helped surge the popularity of the WNBA. Number four, gambling. The rise of gambling apps. People that like to gamble start paying attention to the sports they gamble on. So I'm not a gambler. I don't know a lot about that world, but it does make sense that would be a reason for increased participation from the public in the WNBA. And it's not just Caitlin Clark. Of course, you see from the numbers. Number 5, great coaches and well-funded programs. You have Kim Mulkey, you have Dawn Staley, you have the UConn girls program, the South Carolina LSU girls program. I mean, you just have well-funded programs, great coaches. They're getting good recruits, exciting recruits, talented recruits. So, of course, that's going to lead to a rise in viewership and popularity. Like I said, they are the same thing, in my opinion. Viewership is just a metric of popularity. So those are my 5 reasons for stating these are the real causes of increased popularity and viewership. Those are my 5 reasons for that. So now let's get to the money, because back to Drennan's definition, the Caitlin Clark effect is a transformational phenomenon describing the massive surge in popularity, viewership, and revenue for women's basketball. So let's get to the revenue aspect of it. Are the WNBA players making more money? Yes, the WNBA players are making more money. Is this because of Caitlin Clark? I don't think it is. And I'll say the reason why. Caitlin Clark is making more money. Caitlin Clark, with her endorsements, is currently the highest paid player in the WNBA. Her salary isn't the highest, though. Her salary now, when she came in as a rookie, her salary was about $76,000, $76,500. The next year, her salary was about $78,800. So this year, her salary is right at about $529,000. Plus, she has her endorsements. Okay? A lot of girls, young ladies, I'm sorry for saying girls, a lot of young ladies in the WNBA have endorsements. They are making money. But Alyssa Thomas is making $1.2 million a year. That's just off the team. So I think that Caitlin Clark has been able to increase her personal fortune. Has her presence been able to lift all boats just because she's there? She's definitely a draw. And there's, like I said, increased involvement. People like Megyn Kelly, who don't even know about basketball, don't know the rules of basketball, never played basketball, but they have a racial vested interest in Caitlin Clark's success, or Caitlin Clark being able to subvert the system that's already in place of rules in order to win. You're watching this happen in real time. Did Caitlin Clark greatly impact the 2026 CBA? And that's the collective bargaining agreement. She did, but she wasn't the sole catalyst of this new deal. So here are the facts. Like I told you about her salary: $76,500 and $24, $78,800, $25, $528, $846, and $26 under the new collective bargaining agreement. According to Google, the 2020, that would make Caitlin Clark what, in high school? Not covered, CBA, collective bargaining agreement, set the stage for the 2026 CBA, which was heavily influenced by the recent surge in popularity driven by television audiences and attendance, new media rights, deals, and stars such as Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Are you getting where I'm going with this right now? School is in. The mic drop. You're starting to see the pattern, right? So it didn't matter how many sources I looked into. I see these two coupled all the time. It's almost like one can't exist without the other. But if one could exist without the other, I would have to say it was Angel Reese. And that's not because I personally like Angel Reese and she's here in Atlanta killing it with the Dream right now, the most double-doubles. So shout out to Angel Reese. But think about that. Always coupled with Angel Reese. You can go do your own research, and you're not going to see Caitlin Clark without seeing Angel Reese. And anything that's bringing money or responsible for a surge in viewership, a surge in money, ticket prices, these two ladies are inextricably linked. And like I said, if they become unlinked, I feel like Angel Reese will survive. People want Caitlin Clark to leave and go to Europe anyway. So I feel like Angel Reese will still survive, will still kill it, will still become a better player. Now you got to keep in mind, neither Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese are top scorers right now in the WNBA. You got people like A'ja Wilson, who's probably the face of the WNBA. And according to the old face of the WNBA, Lisa Leslie, it is A'ja Wilson that's the face of the NBA. She's killing it. I mean, number 2 in scoring. She's been there a little bit longer, of course. She's a veteran or getting the veteran status. But this is the nature of playing on the highest level. This is what playing on the highest level looks like. Okay? Let's do the math. Mathematically, can the Caitlin Clark effect be great enough to lift the entire WNBA? She holding the entire WNBA on her back right now. I did a little math, rudimentary math. I didn't do any algebra or anything of that nature, but just rudimentary math. Just, hey, this is what it is. If you want to go deeper, go deeper. But the season is 44 games. There are 15 teams. That's a total of 660 games. Caitlin Clark, in the Fever, they only play 1/15th of those total games. Even at 5 times the ticket increase for away games, that's 22 games. So that's what, 1/30th, right? 1/30th of the games that actually draw above average ticket prices. That's not enough to account for the 37% overall rise in participation from the public across all franchises. The 10 to 30% rise in attendance across all franchises. 1/30th of the games is just not going to be enough to sustain that. One woman making $1 million a year, $500,000 a year, is not going to be able to sustain that. The 2026 CBA is just the 2020 CBA, just a little bit better. A lot of these salary increases, they did increase the caps for the teams, which allows more salary for players. But a lot of those salary increases were already being negotiated when Caitlin Clark was in high school. Okay? This is why I say that the Caitlin Clark effect, I'm going to lean more towards a fabrication. I'm going to have to lean more towards a fabrication, okay? Because the numbers, the math just doesn't justify it. And I'm sure if you got deeper and started doing more complex math, it just wouldn't justify changing the rules, sending her to Europe, anything of that nature. It wouldn't justify that, okay? Let's take a look at some more, not necessarily stats. Let's take a look at some more videos. And for those of you who are just joining the Big Mike Drop, man, I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you. But let's take a look at Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, because this is really what this whole thing is about. This is really what this whole thing is about. And let me pull up my notes real quick, and let's talk about it. I'm gonna wrap this part of the show up. Okay, not gonna stay long. I was able to get through my information quicker. This is more there's more information that you can go look into. Like I said, it's a pretty overview, and just based off the overview, the numbers we're dealing with, the surge we're dealing with, it's impossible for that to be only Caitlin Clark, okay? So the Caitlin Clark effect is just a misnomer that was given to this movement by the dominant society in order to give false credence to create a great white hope. And I think it's a shame that it has to fall on Caitlin Clark's shoulders. I hope she can carry you guys, but it's not looking like that's going to happen. So, in conclusion about Caitlin Clark and the Caitlin Clark effect, before we get into some more stuff, I would like to, just say this. Caitlin Clark is a player with tremendous offensive talent, and in my opinion, she's just not an elite defender. She's just not an elite defender, and that's okay. You know what I mean? That's okay. At the same time, the numbers, they suggest that her fan base alone is not large enough to sustain the WNBA to the point to where a boycott is even going to be effective, okay? It's not going to happen. We keep hearing about Caitlin, calls for rule changes, special protections, even concerns about her personal safety, which is cap. It's exaggerated. Even Jason Whitlock said it's exaggerated. That shit's exaggerated. I ain't going to lie to you. So I'm glad that somebody, said it, even though he was trying to make the phony George Floyd and all of that crazy shit. Jason Whitlock can only be real for so long, okay? So you got to forgive him. All right? So these rule changes, all of these things that they want to do to make the game easier for Caitlin Clark to win, and to me, it's manufactured outrage and it's dressed up as principle. The question is this: has she earned a style of play where defenders are expected to just simply leave her alone? Has Caitlin Clark earned that? I'm going to say no. Like I said before, any basketball coach will tell you that the first priority is to prevent a dangerous shooter from shooting anything uncontested. You don't get uncontested shots. And yeah, sometimes you are sent a foul or threat. That's part of the game. That's what you have to deal with being great. You're going to be the target of the opposing team's defense, okay? So when she steps out on the court, that's what she should expect. When it comes to the argument about whether she should go to Europe, she'd be safer in Europe. And I posted a question, and really this is just a question to make you open your mouth and expose yourself, because some people expose themselves. Of course she would be safer in Europe. I'm going to tell you what the word safer means. Safer in Europe together means something, right? And this is dog whistling or virtue signaling, right? Safer, in my view, is one of the most insecure talking points in this entire debate. What many people mean by safer is just a way to say away from Black American women in Europe. That argument is going to fall apart under any scrutiny, okay? It's going to fall apart under any scrutiny. Europe is filled with African and Caribbean women. They compete at the highest levels in the Euro League female basketball league. If your concern is simply about playing against Black women, Europe isn't going to solve that. It's not going to solve that. But the Black American spirit, I think that's really what they're afraid of her having to beat. They don't think she's going to be able to beat it. And they keep trying to make it a black and white issue. It's not me. I'm not the race baiter here. Okay? The numbers just make this whole argument about going to Europe weak, though. So just a few numbers before we get out of here. There are approximately 180 players in the WNBA. Out of those 180 players, 17.8% of those players are European. They come over and play for the WNBA during the European offseason. WNBA plays in the summer, they play regular season in the winter. So a lot of women in the WNBA, they make homes in Europe to make more money and supplement income. Why do you think Brittany Griner got arrested in Russia? Okay. Out of the 180 players, we already know that almost 18% of them are European already. So they're going to be there. You got about 75 players. That's about 42%. You combine that with the European players already in the WNBA and the substantial percentage of the same elite competition existing in Europe, the argument falls apart. Changing continents doesn't remove the competition for Caitlin Clark. It's not going to stop her from getting fouled. She's not going to be safer. Europe isn't even full of white people anymore, so there's no white cohesion in Europe. The best white racial cohesion you're going to get is probably in America. To me, this conversation says far more about certain fans than it does about Caitlin Clark, though. Many of her most passionate supporters appear to view her as a symbolic challenger to black women in the league. That's really what it is. That's why her and Angel Reese, whenever she's going against Angel Reese, that's why the numbers are higher. That's why the cash, the pocketbooks are getting filled up. But like I said, many of her passionate supporters appear to view her as a symbolic challenger to black women in the league, particularly Angel Reese. I would say only Angel Reese. And that's why they want harsher penalties and even legal consequences when games become physical. But yet they'll eagerly tune in whenever Clark and Reese face each other again. The rivalry itself is part of the attraction. Angel Reese has become the measuring stick through which many people evaluate Caitlin Clark's career. Whether that's fair or not is another discussion, but that's just what it is. That rivalry has taken on a significance that extends beyond basketball. And those are facts. In my opinion, though, some supporters have embraced the narrative that portrays Clark as the perpetual victim in a uniquely hostile treatment. I'm sorry. Victim of a uniquely hostile treatment. I'm reading. Victim of a uniquely hostile treatment. Rather than recognizing the physical defense is a reality, that physical defense is a reality for many star players, I see that the narrative is more of a projection than an objective analysis. Ultimately, I believe that this movement reveals more about cultural and political meanings people have attached to these athletes than about the game itself. Okay? If I had to give this phenomenon a name, I call it the Angel Reese effect. If it bears one name, it has to bear the other name, right? So it could righteously be called the Angel Reese effect. Angel Reese, and I'm not reading anymore. Angel Reese is the only obstacle, or was the only obstacle, to Caitlin Clark's greatness. If Caitlin Clark could have finished college with a championship, that would have sealed her as the GOAT of NCAA basketball. You don't leave NCAA basketball, LeBron. You never went. But you don't leave NCAA basketball and go into the professional league as the GOAT. You cannot say that. You can't even act like that. Players are going to hate you. People that have been there busting their ass the whole time, running suicides for 10, 12 years in the WNBA, making peanuts compared to you, compared to the NBA. They making peanuts. Yeah, they're going to be mad if a young lady comes straight out of college that hadn't really proven herself. She doesn't have the ring. Angel Reese has the ring. Caitlin Clark got the shot. Angel Reese has the hustle. Angel Reese is the underdog with the ring. Neither one of them score or top scorers right now. Caitlin Clark is getting there, but she's not a top scorer in the WNBA. I think the closest she got was number 6. That may have been last year, her first year. So don't take the importance of Angel Reese for granted at all. I maintain that without an Angel Reese, there is no Caitlin Clark. She is the measuring stick. This isn't the situation we created. This is a situation you guys created. And if this young lady loses her career and goes off to coach somewhere, and, I'm sure she'll do great things as a coach, but I'm sure as a player, Caitlin Clark is there to win, compete, win. She's not there to get special treatment. She's not there to be treated like a princess or a Karen. And if she is, then she definitely needs to go. The league will be better off without her. And if you guys are going to boycott, please do. I wish you boycott anyway, because the narrative is ridiculous. Caitlin Clark, like Jackie Robinson. Caitlin Clark is the Jackie Robinson of the WNBA. That's just downright offensive. But I think that's really what a lot of people want to do right now. You want to dig knives into your fellow countrymen, black countrymen, and just, get real mean. But what happens when we get mean? Everybody starts crying foul. See how that works? I appreciate y'all for joining the show. But I want y'all to hear these clowns one more time based off the information that I've given you. And like I said, go back on the replay and just put it up against what the standard is. That's not the standard we created. They created the standard and the definition. But listen to these clowns and tell me that this is not total propaganda.
You women out there, y'all petty, man. These girls hating on Caitlin Clark. Y'all petty, girls.
I'm sick of watching Caitlin getting attacked. If the league doesn't step up and protect her, things are going to get ugly real fast.
They now have a commemorative poster of 30 years of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's not on it. Paige Beckers and Angel Reese are on it. And Caitlin Clark's not.
Egregious and utterly disrespectful.
If Caitlin Clark said, you know what, today I'm done with the WNBA, where would the WNBA be? It would be over.
But look here, loose ball, Caitlin Clark passes it, gets hit in the throat, and nothing called there.
Refs didn't see it, James.
Yeah.
Didn't see it.
The ball's out of her hands, and then she gets hit, full body weight landed on, because Caitlin Clark is a star.
Y'all should be thanking that girl for getting y'all ass private charters, all the money and visibility she bringing to the WNBA. Don't be petty.
Don't get it twisted. Don't get it up. Caitlin Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA.
People that follow the WNBA much closer than I do say, oh, well, she's not the best player in the league. I do not care. I don't care if she's the best player in the league. She's the biggest star in the league. It's not particularly close.
When Michael Jordan was the man, the NBA made sure, you can't be doing the Pistons. Y'all can't be doing it to him no more. Quarterbacks in the NFL, they hurt Tom Brady's knee. From now on, no more. You can't tie the quarterback by their knees. That's dead.
There is a flagrant level of resentment that exists when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
Bro, if you don't take care of the young GOAT, what the hell is going to happen to the WNBA?
You women out there, y'all petty, man.
Charles Barkley, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. I mean, you heard it. And nobody offered any proof to what they were saying. Nobody offered any proof. But I want to take y'all back, man. I want to take y'all back. because this is what started this whole thing. Y'all remember this?
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
They called that girl trash, an animal, an idiot. I mean, these are grown people. I think Keith Olbermann called the girl an idiot because she did that. And everybody ignored this. And this is when I knew it was going to be problematic. Let's check that out one more time.
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
Caitlin Clark talks shit too, y'all.
Go get it, y'all.
Caitlin Clark talks shit too. And when everybody in the media ignored it and they went on the attack on that beautiful black woman, I knew I was locked into her. I like Big Cordozo too, but Angel Reese, that's my girl in the WNBA. I'm rocking with Angel. Just because of that. Because I'm just not going to idly sit by and listen to weak people who don't even know about the sport talk smack. It's trash, man. And we shouldn't be treating young people like this. We shouldn't be treating our kids like this. And our kids shouldn't see us treating other young people like this either. But just to end it out on a good note, both of these women understand the importance of the other one to each other, okay? And when they play together, this is what it looks like, guys. That's what I'm talking about, man. Shout out to those young ladies. They're more adult than a lot of you adults. But, yeah, let's do that one more time. That's beautiful, y'all. That's beautiful. Look, I'll still be out here in these streets battling. I'll still be out here in the streets battling. I'm going to end this show for tonight. I thought it was going to take me a lot longer, but I'm glad that I was able to get through it in, a little bit less than 2 hours, an hour and a half, actually. I'm glad I was able to get back, get all the way through it. But if you get an opportunity, finish checking out the Megyn Kelly and the Jason Whitlock, because like I said, Jason Whitlock kind of made him look like a fool, even though he had to stretch, he had to throw communism in there, and he had to throw George Floyd in there, and it was so exaggerated and all that bullshit. If you eat the meat and spit out the bones on that particular conversation, I normally don't even consume Jason Whitlock, but I was interested in what Megyn Ku Klux Kelly was gonna say on this, and just like I thought, she ain't no shit, So to close the show out, I just got something funny I want to show y'all. It has nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. It has nothing to do with Angel Reese. But I thought this was funny, and we're going to get on this boy next week. I'm going to wait till after 4th of July. We're going to get on this boy next week. You guys be safe over the holiday weekend. I wanted to do a show about the holiday because I have my own thoughts on America and the true age of America, but I'm not even going to ruin it for you. Okay, we might talk about it afterward, but you guys stay safe, all right?
Not going anywhere for a while? Grab a Snickers.
Shout out to I'm sorry, I had to do it, man. Yo, this your boy Big Mike, man. This is the Big Mike Drop, and I appreciate y'all for joining the show.